Deep cut.
Yep. What's up, everybody?
You too.
What's good?
Yeah.
Did you listen to that? I know you sent it. Did you actually listen to the whole thing, though? That, my friend?
Did I finish it? I don't know. It might have been another whatchamacallit situation.
Sophie's Choice.
It might have been a Sophie's Choice. I know I started it, and I was like, man, this sounds really good. I like I mentioned before, they're using a click track now, or a way, to like make sure
Just
they're
tempo.
they're in time, and
James sounds good. Fucking Trujillo. I think he played that better than Jason Newsted.
Do you know
Is that what you sent me earlier?
Yeah. You know the big thing about that is, and you know who needs that the most is Lars, because Lars with Lars in all these videos with the click track, he's not playing a million miles an hour, so he actually can play the song how it's supposed to sound.
And actually put in a couple of fills and stuff, not just snare roll.
He probably took some lessons, Dave.
No, he just has like a metronome, like fucking, like legitimately, like that's. Like, I don't know what noise it's making,
Dave.
but
never mind.
I already know what you're saying. I'm just glossing over it. I'm just glossing over it. You know why? Because that dude stole cologne and he got kicked out of the band.
Allegedly.
Carnkevel, if you are listening, fuck you, you goddamn thief.
That's why I didn't want your fucking.
That's why I didn't want the phone number.
Yeah, I still remember that.
We'll see what happens.
No, yeah, he's like I was like, Jason, you want his number? We'll see what happens. The man is standing right there.
You know what the worst part is that it didn't faze me at all, but I could feel the awkward silence.
Like there was definitely tension because he 100% was like that was it wasn't like there was a bunch of conversation happening. Like that was
that was it.
Yeah. And the funny part is I think that man only made it like 2 more practices before he decided to steal, probably because he was upset.
Before Adrian staged his little theft
and told him, "Hey man, listen, you're out of the band." Why?
Yeah.
The bass player doesn't like you.
Yeah.
If you didn't notice already.
Yeah. But hey,
man, we should have had to play a game to see who would have survived being in the band there. Us versus him.
Yeah, that is good.
I mean, we won.
Tug of war.
Tug of war?
Yeah.
Betrayal! That's what it was. He betrayed us.
He did.
He betrayed our trust.
Oh,
you know what's funny is, guys, no one is laughing at these jokes but us. But you know what? That's okay, because we're here to talk about Squid Game.
Yeah.
A show that's not funny at all.
Shout out to who put us up to this.
That's Jonah. Jonah, shout out.
Iris
Omek, yep. He, a listener, fan of the show, recommended us doing the podcast on it. And at first, we weren't terribly interested, but we decided, we'll just give it a try. We'll watch the first couple episodes and see how it goes. And man,
you're right.
It's pretty good. It's a pretty good show. Good. So, for the YouTube crowd, if you're just looking to find out, hey, should you watch it? Watch it. But you know what? Judging by all the noise on this show, you've probably already watched it. So
we're probably the ones that are late to the party here.
Yeah. So we'll say this again when we do the podcast, but just as a forewarning, we've only watched the first 5 episodes of this show, so that we can kind of do a 2-parter and do some predictions, and which is Josh's favorite thing that we tend to do here on Three Guys and a Mic.
You can't get Josh to stop making predictions. So
yeah, I mean, all Josh wants to do is discuss, the ins and outs, the inner workings, the mind palaces that are involved in this show, and so we want to make sure Josh has that content.
Correct.
Predictions are lame. That's I tend to check out whenever we get the predictions, and Jason has this fucking 10-page prediction about what's going to happen to this guy in the next episode, and I'm just like,
no, dude, be honest. Cool. You checked out when Jason decided to become the History Channel on the Hunters podcast.
Oh man, big time.
Man, I love that stuff.
That was pre-camera. That was pre-camera. So I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure you were on your phone. And I was too.
Oh, 100%. Hey, by the way, for those out there listening, don't go back and listen to our Hunters podcast. It's not good.
No.
Start with the Metallica bracket and go from there.
It's taken me everything not to just take that shit down completely. But, I'll just leave it up.
You got to learn from your mistakes as we roll along here, getting to, to a tighter show.
Yeah. And look, we've been doing this now coming up, guys. It's coming up on our 2-year anniversary. You know that?
Hey.
That's pretty
I'm not
crazy.
going to get you a card or anything, Dave.
Nah,
that's robust.
That's fine. We're
Has
actually.
anybody seen the? Go ahead.
I was going to say last thing on that. We're coming up on our 4,000th download here on the podcast as well. So that's
I cannot believe we found 4,000 suckers to download this fucking podcast.
Man, we got a lot of family members. I'll tell you what.
No,
that's right.
Thank God.
That's right.
Friends.
But no, Josh, you were saying?
Well, I was going to say, so we were planning last night, and the plan is after we do the Squid Game pod tonight, that we're gonna do a live reaction to the new Trivium record.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just me and Dave. We were going to try and do it last night, but somebody broke a fiber optic cable somewhere in my neighborhood. So since I had the night to myself,
that is the worst thing that could possibly happen. I've watched somebody try to put a fiber optic back together. That shit is a nightmare.
Yeah, I text Dave at like 2:00 yesterday, like, "Hey, dude, no big deal. Internet's out right now. I'm sure it'll be back."
Yeah,
5:30. Hey, dude, still out. No big deal.
Yeah, because we weren't planning on doing it till about 9:00ish. So you text me in the afternoon. He was like, "Yeah, we got like 8 hours. No big deal." Nope, didn't happen. So
Sure enough. So me and the wife decided we would go see the new James Bond movie last night, since we ran out of opportunity for the pod.
Hey, so I don't think
we're gonna go watch it soon.
I'm not sure we're gonna get to that from a podcast standpoint. But hey, why don't you off the cuff give us your shitometer score for that?
Jason, you said you wanted to see it.
Yeah, me and Tam are going to go watch it.
What would you rate Skyfall on the shitometer?
Probably.
Well, let me ask you this: do you of the 4 of the Daniel Craig series that you've seen, would you say Skyfall is the best one, or would you say Casino Royale?
Casino Royale.
So I'd go Casino Royale. I'd give Casino Royale.
But I think Skyfall is right there.
Like, I'd give Casino Royale like a 25, like a solid 20,
I think
20,
in the low
25.
20s. I would say most of the Daniel Craig Bond movies are in the 20s.
There was one of them that I wasn't too much of a fan of. I don't know if it was the one right after Casino or the one after that.
Most people don't like the one after Casino, Quantum of Solace.
Yes, I think that was it.
Yeah,
most people don't like that one. Yeah,
it's just the fourth, probably.
So I made Amanda watch Skyfall with me the other night. And that was the first time I'd rewatched it in a little while. And I think Casino and Skyfall are probably right. I'll agree with you in the 25 to 27 range, whichever one back and forth. I would say this one, if those are a 25 to a 27, I'd say this is probably a 30.
So it's a very, very solid movie.
It's good. It's better than the last one. It's better than Quantum of Solace. It's interesting that there's definitely some. It's the most different one of the whole series of the Daniel Craig, but I think you'll like it. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes long, but I would tell you it didn't really feel that long. I didn't even have to I've been hitting my diet super strict here recently, which means like a ton of hydration, and I didn't even get up to go take a piss during the movie. Like, it was pretty it moves for 2.5 hours or 2:45, but it's really good.
This is Craig's last one, right?
Yeah.
From what I understand, he's thankful to be done.
Well, so there's if you go to YouTube, I think GQ does an interview with him where it's like 15 questions or something like that, and he's just kind of rapid firing through them. But somebody asked him, why is there so much time in between the Bond movies? He's like, well, I broke my leg on the 3rd one, I broke my ankle on the 4th one.
Yeah.
He's like, it's a super physical role. So he's been doing it for 15 years. I didn't realize that.
And the dude's jacked. I mean, it's hard. Yeah. Look, I have an impressive physique. It is difficult to maintain. I can only imagine what he has to go through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, this was also, I think this was done filming, this was supposed to come out last year, but, COVID obviously kept that from happening. So, I think this was just a little bit longer just due to that, but the movie's really good.
That's cool.
All right.
The action is top notch.
All right. Yeah, we want to go see the 007 and the new Venom.
Yeah, let me tell you what was not as good. I watched Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 today.
Not as good as you remember.
So is that still the one we want to use?
Listen, that's Jason's choice. That's his dog in the party here. But it's not the one that I thought it was, and it's not very good. It's terrible. Woo, man, it was bad.
It's hilarious.
Look, I'm just saying.
You weren't wrong when you said Dave was in the movie.
Look.
Oh man, dude! Like, if for nothing else, Dave's got to watch it just so he can see his cameo. In the movie,
I just
want
the Grand
Wizard.
I want it to be.
Well, hold on. That's probably bad verbiage. The Wizard Master. Excuse me.
Okay, that's really bad. I just want it to be known that I, on record, have stated that we should have done all originals against each other for the Halloween.
We can't.
Okay, the 2 originals that we can do, and then the second Friday the 13th movie.
No. We're better off doing it this way. We're better off doing it this way. Shut up.
Okay, look, that's fine. Hey, do we want to give a preview of what the potential upcoming bracket that you and I talked about, Josh, or we're going to wait for that to cook more?
Let's leave that in the oven for a little bit.
Okay, that's fine. I guess. Hey, I think we've stalled. I think we've stalled enough.
Yeah.
Josh, you want to hit this up?
Yep. Let's do it.
Pull it. Misdirect incoming.
Drop your consecration.
I always like doing undead bosses because I could do my exorcism and that hit like a fucking truck, especially on the undead.
Aggro.
Hammer of Wrath under 50%.
Yeah. Idiots. All right, shut up.
Kingsme.
Innovate me, Coons.
Time Warp.
This is what I do a lot of times as a tank, is just not say anything. I'll just be like, okay. I'm just here.
Wipe it.
Yeah.
Wipe it.
Wipe this shit. What the fuck?
All right. For real, I'll shut up. I'm muted.
All right, let's do this.
Hello, and welcome to Three Guys and a Mic Presents, a review of the new Netflix original series, Squid Game, episodes 1 through 5. I'm your co-host, the Human Dart, along with...
Jason Tsunami.
And David Disaster.
Whoa.
Oh, what's up, everybody?
We did it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we did.
Feeling good, like I should.
You know what? It's good to be alive.
Yeah, you know what's not good?
To be dead?
To be dead, playing kids games.
Being on the border of financial ruin and having to play kids games in order to try and pay off all my debt so I can save my kidneys. That's not good.
That's bad, dude. It's fucking man. Hey, if you're tuning in, we're doing Squid Game, and we'll just get this out of the way. Yeah. We'll get this out of the way. I want to thank a listener, friend of the show, Jonah, who recommended we do this, do Squid Game on the podcast. We checked out a couple of episodes and decided, you know what? This is really good, so appreciate always appreciate any one of our listeners to provide us with content so we don't have to do that work on our own.
I know.
Yeah. So we decided in an effort to try and make it interesting, because normally a show like this we would do week by week, but since everything was dropped at one time, we decided to split it into 2 different pods. So we're going to do episode 1 through 5. That way it'll give us an opportunity to do the best thing possible, which is make predictions about the last 4 episodes. Yeah, and that way we can see, if Dave can keep his streak alive of making good predictions. So we'll see. But just so everybody knows here, we're only talking about episodes 1 through 5 here, so there'll be no spoilers past that episode.
Yeah, because we just don't know it. So
yeah,
right. And we've been like radio silence on attempting to stay away from any spoilers. So
yeah, I haven't Googled anything.
I've been successful thus far. I even got on the wiki to try and get some more information, and I was able to dodge some shit. So I'm feeling pretty good.
Same here.
Yep. So, yeah, I guess we'll do a quick little recap. King of recaps will knock that out for us.
All right, we ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Do it.
All right, Squid Games. South Korean Netflix survival series. Currently, the #1 streaming show on Netflix. It is also reached #1 in 90 countries. It's driven mostly, thank God, by the word of mouth, since Netflix's search engine is pretty fucking terrible. Anyways, the show centers around on the literal do or die contest of 456 players from all walks of life, sharing the common thread of all being heavily indebted losers. They're all brought together to play children's games. Our characters quickly realize it is a literal do or die with extreme prejudice. Over the first 5 episodes, we're introduced to most, if not all, of our characters, as well as introduced to the first 3 games out of 6. And our 456 quickly gets reduced down to 40 by the end of episode 5. That was it. It was quick. Quick
All
and
right.
easy.
All right, quick game. All right, I like it.
Yeah. I struggled with this initially with the show, not because it wasn't entertaining, because I think this show did what other shows that we really like have done, which they gave us something tasty, super tasty in the first episode to kind of wet your whistle, right?
Yeah.
So if we think back to like The Boys, I mean, in the first 5 minutes, you got A-Train just obliterating.
Spoilers.
Girlfriend.
Yeah, I can't remember Huey.
Huey's.
Huey.
Yes.
Huey.
What
Yeah,
was
obliterating
it?
Huey's girlfriend.
I don't remember her name. Rachel? Rebecca?
I don't know. She's dead as fuck. I don't
Dead
know.
as shit.
Yeah, she's like splatter on the sidewalk. And if we talk about Invincible, I mean, you got fucking Omni-Man at the end just fucking up the Avengers or whatever they're.
Yep.
Yeah.
The league, the Justice League.
So this show kind of did the same thing where we start off with the first episode doing some introductions, and then it ends with a total massacre of a game.
You lose like half the contestants.
Yeah. I was at that point, I'm in on the show because I'm like, oh, okay, this is going to be cool, right? This is going to be a fun show. But I was really kind of concerned about, was there really any substance to talk about? Is there I know there's a plot, but is it going to be worth us having a podcast and doing all this stuff? And then as we progress through episode 3, kind of getting into 4 and 5, that's really where I think the meat of the story has shown up. And it's not only just this brutally violent show, but now it's actually achieved creating good characters that you care about and good storyline right now, as we've found up to episode 5 now, where our undercover policeman is discovering kind of where his brother is or maybe isn't right now.
Yeah.
So far, I've been very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I think the show has done something. This might be sacrilege depending on the person, but I feel like this show is kind of what gives me what the Saw movies want to do, whereas it's got these very brutal games. But Saw, I never cared about the characters, ever, never did. And I feel like the show, because it's not a movie.
Not even the first one.
The first one a little bit, but it was
The first
still
one was almost untouchable.
The first one is more of a spectacle, or more of I think I was more invested. But because this is not a movie and it's told over the course of 9-hour-long episodes, we're really able to explore all of these characters. And they really give all of their main characters a good amount of time. And we really got to see some fleshed out stories here. And like you said, Josh, by the end of the episode 5, you're like there's several directions the show can go, but you're interested in pretty much any one of those directions, right? And
yeah,
I'll
give you an example of how this show progresses and gets better, right? So as I try to do with all the content that we watch, I try to get Amanda to watch a lot of it as well. And so we're watching the first episode, and I would say the bulk of the episode, she's laying on the couch, playing on her phone, right? Just like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then as we get to red light, green light, the first game, she looks up, she's like, what the fuck is going on? Right? And so then, the second, we watch the second episode, and she's kind of in and out of it. By the third episode ends on Tug of War, right?
Yep. Or
Yeah.
fourth episode.
No, that was fourth episode.
Fourth episode. Okay, so at the end of the fourth episode, she's like, "What the fuck?" And then after the fifth one, she's like, "Do we have to wait until after you do the podcast to watch the next ones?" So that's like the progression of the show, right? Is somebody that's totally. I mean, she's not into. Like, I love the incredible violence that's on the show, right? I think we all sign up for that every time we see that in the show. She's not really into that kind of thing. So for her to like be into this show and progress with it, and now to the point where she's pissed off that she had to wait a whole week because we pounded through 5 episodes pretty quick. I think that's good for the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with both of you guys. I came across it on accident before it was actually recommended to us, because I was kind of going through Netflix, and you know how you do, like, I want to watch something. So what do? You open Amazon. I don't see anything. You open Netflix, Hulu, Vudu, whatever, HBO.
And I watched the trailer for Squid Game the day before we all started talking about it. I was like, man, that looks pretty interesting. Like, I'll get around to it.
Exactly. I was like, this looks like, because you watch it and you're like, it's dubbed. That's the first thing that I think of. It's like, it's dubbed. So I'm almost always going to pass on that. I'll come around later. And so then it was recommended, and I was like, well, I saw the trailer. It does look interesting. Like, I'm willing to give the first episode a shot. And just like everybody else has said, you start watching the first episode, you're kind of like, all right, where are we going with this? Very similar to Invincible, where it's like, I thought this was going to be violent. Like, nothing's really happening.
Yeah, it takes a while. The first episode is a very slow burn.
Yeah, and then you get to the end, you're like, okay, so what are we doing here? This is stupid. And then it's not stupid.
No.
Because all kinds of shit starts happening. And like Josh said, you get into the second episode where they do the vote, and now you're starting to see some character. And then everybody goes home, and you're like, well, okay, well, how do we get back to this?
Yeah.
And then they bring you back in. And then by the time you're in episode 4 and 5, like you're now at a point now where you definitely have a handful of characters you hate, a handful of characters you like, and a handful of characters you just don't know about yet. And to Josh's point, so I tried to get the wife to watch the show, and she wasn't interested. And so then she heard about it, so I show her the trailer, and she's like, well, okay, so like I want to watch it. Well, this is like yesterday. I was like, okay, well, we can't watch all 5 episodes before we get to this, so you're going to have to catch up. So this is the actual text. She watched the first episode today. She sends me this text message. It says, just finished the first episode of Squid Game. What in the actual fuck? Like, seriously. And you laugh.
There's going to be a lot of students out there that say, oh my God, Mrs. Jones talks like that?
I was just like, holy shit. I mean, that sums it up.
Yeah.
That sums it up.
It's, I had a similar situation with the wife because her friends have been talking about it. And, but it's kind of almost the opposite of what she said. She's like, oh, well, I want to watch it. Have you already seen it? I'm like, yeah, we're doing it for the podcast. And, she's like, well, can you just tell me whenever you're watching the next one, and I'll just pick up where you're watching it, and you can just tell me what's going on. And I was like, why don't we just watch from the beginning? She's like, no, that's fine. And I was like, okay. I was like, hey, you should know it's pretty violent. She's like, how violent? I was like, well, people's heads get blown off, and people get stabbed mercilessly. Oh, never mind. I don't want to watch it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Whatever.
You should have just go. Oh, look.
You should have just let her just stumble onto it.
I know, but like I
should have just been like,
I was
we're just gonna watch the first episode, and that's it.
You could have recorded her live reaction to fucking red light, green light.
I should have. If I would have had more foresight, I would have just lied and told her I hadn't watched it yet, and then we'd have just watched it.
Since you brought it up, red light, green light.
Yeah. So, who wants to go?
Well, I was gonna say in the first 5 episodes so far. So, as we know, there's going to be 6 games that show up in this series. So through the first 5 episodes, we've seen the first 3 games. Starts with red light, green light.
And the premise is there's 48 billion yuan Korean won.
South Korean won.
Which equals, what did we say it was? Like 46 billion or 46 million American dollars?
It's 80 million American dollars.
Okay. So $80 million at stake. Whoever survives all 6 games splits the $80 million with the other survivors.
So I'll ask you guys, when red light, green light, when that scene kind of first starts unfolding, right? How?
So Dave, just quickly explain what are the rules of red light, green light for somebody that may not.
Yeah. So you know.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, see? What you got to do is you got no. So generally there's somebody who's right, who's the person calling out red light, green light, and they're standing beyond a certain distance behind a line, and they have their back turned, and it's red light. Sometimes it's blindfold, whatever, and they say green light, and they turn around and they try to catch people. They try to catch people who move, all right? And if the person normally, when it's not for your death, if you get you get caught, you're out, and you play it, you keep going until presumably everyone's mated or everyone's eliminated, right?
Yeah.
It's
Have you guys ever played it?
I have played it as a kid, yes.
Yes, as a kid.
Yeah. Not really the funnest game.
No, not really. Like
No.
Once you play it a couple times, you're like, can we play something else?
Yeah, but if you're trying to set up, a 6-game contest where you're trying to massacre about a crowd, this is a great way to start.
I have found that prior to this, if you'd have asked me, like, hey, can you turn red light, green light into a incredibly bloody and murderous game, I'd have said no. You probably can't.
Probably not. So the premise is they have this giant robot doll playing,
which is creepy as fuck.
Yeah,
Not terrifying at all.
Yeah, playing the It, and she has her back turned to the group, and she says green light. People start moving. She says red light, and her head turns around, and I guess her eyes are embedded with targeting systems. So if you move, the entire arena that they're in is surrounded by, I don't know, I'd assume like automatic sniper weapons.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, do you think those are humans taking those shots, or do you think that's all computer?
It seems like it's all computer. I kind of assume that.
Yeah,
there were no misses.
Yeah, exactly. And the kind of the game that I would say the game within the game was they were using people in front of them as a shield. So I assume it was based solely on the Android doll looking thing,
like the motion sense from the Android.
I would tell you, I was surprised at how fucking nitpicky they were on that, because like some of these guys weren't really moving. It was just like maybe they were breathing, or they fucking like it's not like they were moving forward and trying to get like an advantage. But man, I mean, if you blinked, like you were getting shot.
And the funny thing is how it plays out is the very first guy who's out in front takes an extra step and he gets blapped. And the guy behind him's like, hey man, are you okay? Like, and he sees there's just blood pouring out, and that is when the entire show changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, so did you appreciate what I consider the realism of after the room realizes what is actually happening? Because up to this point, 50 minutes into this episode, no one knows this is life or death, right?
Yeah.
And the absolute panic in that room. And dude, it started like it kind of like started making me panic a little bit, just like because I'm imagining myself in that situation. And this kind of leads into my first question. It just makes sense to put it here. Like, do you guys think you survive red light, green light?
I had a similar take, but my thought on this game, it might be the most difficult while simultaneously being the easiest game to play because of what you just brought up, the panic. Like when you see the first person die, like there's 100 of them that die immediately because they panic and run for the doors.
Well, and I thought when that happened, Dave, to answer your question, I think I would survive this game. just because I'm gonna follow the rules, right? She said don't move. I'm not gonna move.
Okay, now.
But
let me
I
ask-
thought they were gonna reset the game when everybody like turned around and tried to run out the door. I thought they were gonna hey guys, kind of get the idea of what's happening. Now let's reset. And no, they were just like, oh, you moved. Bop, bop, bop. I mean, I don't know. That was brutal.
There's a mountain of
what were you
dead
saying,
bodies.
Jason?
No, I was just going to say now, most of my questions with these games is going to pertain to the fact that if we were all there, do you think we're all there and you see me or Dave take a bullet to the face? Are you able to stand still in that moment?
Yes. Yes.
Fucking heartless motherfucker.
Oh man.
Are you gonna weekend? Are you gonna weekend at Bernie's My Body and just use it as a shield?
Ooh, damn, Dave, that's a great idea.
Good idea.
So
Yeah, but since you started doing that P90X, though, man, you're like you lost some of that weight, bro. You shield.
I wonder if that actually would that have worked? Like we don't have to go deep into
I
that, but
doubt
like,
it because your limp dead body would have continued to move when I stopped.
I know,
Yeah.
but like, what if you just ran forward holding
With a dead body on there?
Well, no, actually,
I'm sure
they had guns like it was like a half moon. Like it would have got you.
there was also pink guys there at the finish line as well. So I'm sure you would cross the finish line. They popped you anyway.
Probably.
Okay. All right.
They are relentless at following the rules and shooting people in the face.
Oh, you're talking about the Sony employees, PlayStation.
Yes, yeah, the walking PlayStation controllers.
Yeah.
But I would tell you, this was a great introduction to the show because, you know, like a lot of other shows that we were talking about, and I mean, like Game of Thrones, right? Like this immediately puts everybody on notice.
Correct.
Like, dude, anybody can fucking die in this show, and it could come at any given time. But
Yeah,
I
because-
was
Go ahead.
good. No, I'm good.
Okay. Anyway, no, like to what you're saying, you in the beginning you only know of one main character.
Yeah,
And-
456.
Yeah, and so even though you feel safe with him, you're being introduced, I would say, fairly equally to all
over the course of these
characters.
5 episodes. Yeah.
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 And some of these people you're only introduced, briefly, but they survive. While another person is briefly and they die horrendously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they introduced some strengths of some folks here. So you got number 218, who's his buddy that he knows from outside in the world, who's supposed to be this wildly succcul business guy that is
Very
clearly
smart.
struggling. But yeah, he's the tactician. You meet, I don't know his number, but you meet Ali, who saves his fucking life by like holding him up one-handed, like
Yeah.
dead weight.
Oh yeah. While it's a red light.
Yeah. So that dude, I mean, he saves his life, and this dude is freakishly strong. I mean, not really, but he is strong. And then player one, just the old dog, man. He's got seasoning. He's got experience.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have, there's not the one thing that kind of pertains to everybody else that he's exempt from is he's the only one in here that's not really afraid to die.
Not at all.
Yeah, he's got terminal brain cancer or something.
Yeah, or tumor or something.
In fact, during red light, green light, he's kind of like singing along to the song that the girl is singing, and he's like smiling and stuff. I thought he had just completely lost it at that point, but I mean, technically he's already losing it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave, to take your question and use it as a segue into the next game. So the next game is called Dalgona. I don't know. It's the honeycomb game.
yep.
This is where my journey would end with this series for sure. I don't have the fucking patience I would not have the patience to win this game. So for those following along out there, this next game is basically you have to cut a shape out of a piece of honeycomb.
Yeah.
And there's 4 shapes you can choose from: a circle, a square, a triangle,
An
is
umbrella.
it a square? And an umbrella. Was it a
No,
square?
it's,
Yeah, okay.
it's a star, I thought.
Oh, a star.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, it's a star.
Yeah. Star, circle,
Triangle, umbrella.
triangle, and umbrella.
Yeah. And leading up to this, right, nobody, obviously we're all stupid to what's going on here. And this is the first time you really kind of get a taste that 218 is out. He's out only for himself here, man, because he realizes walking in what the game is,
Yeah.
Yes.
and he lets 456 fucking go
umbrella.
pick the umbrella.
Now, he does
And,
regret
you
it.
can tell he's
torn.
he's like he's got some guilt for it, but he still lets him go over there because I guess he doesn't want it to give indication that he knows what the game is. But like, who cares? Just be like, I don't know 456's name of the show. Yo, 456. Like, no, come back over here to Circle, bro.
Yeah.
Like, come
No, I
on
don't
over.
trust-
It's all
I don't-
good.
I don't trust Umbrella.
Yeah, I'll tell
Yeah.
you right now, the only way I'm surviving this game, this particular one, is if I get Triangle.
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't even want Triangle. Circle would probably be the one because, like, I like Josh. I have the patience for about half of that, but then once you got to about the 2-minute mark, I don't know.
see, one
I
of the
sure
guys
as hell
had a smart
wouldn't have thought
idea.
about what they
I
did.
think it was Ali who was he had Circle, I think, and he was just eating around it.
Yeah.
Which I thought, like, if you have Circle, that's probably the best option there.
Yeah.
But
One of my questions in this is, when you're watching this play out, what shape did you pick?
Triangle.
in my head, I thought Circle was probably going to be the easiest, but after watching the game, it's clear that Triangle is the way to go, just because
I
of
think-
the straight lines and stuff.
I think what the ones I had kind of narrowed down was Circle or Star. I don't know which one I would have picked in the moment. I want to say Circle, but that might have been hindsight. I think I'd have probably picked Star, and I'd have probably ended up dead. So basically,
Yeah.
the gist of this game was you had this tin.
10
and inside
minutes.
The tin, inside the tin was the honeycomb or the brown sugar, whatever the fuck it was.
And
and-
a needle.
Yeah, and a needle, and there was a shape that was already semi-pressed. But you had to use the needle to cut out the shape. And if even a single crumb or piece of it broke, they shot you in the head.
Yeah.
Like, right then and there. And
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you can imagine you can imagine the look on 456's face when he pops that thing open and it's the fucking umbrella and he realizes what's going on and he's like, fuck.
oh, dude,
Yeah,
like
dude.
that. I'll tell you. At first, when the game first started, I was like, man, this is such a weaker game than the first game. And
Yes.
and overall, it is a weaker game from a
Challenge.
visceral standpoint and everything. But I'll tell you,
It's a different skill set.
it's a different skill set. And if you'd ask me right now, and I'll ask you gentlemen this, which game would you rather play? And I'm pretty sure I know the answer already. You'd
Red
rather
light,
play
green light.
red light, green light, even though that game claimed more victims.
Yes.
Yeah, just to go back, I apologize. Red light, green light, actually 255 of our contestants.
Yeah.
This game, because I know what would happen. To your point, I think you mentioned this, Josh. Like, as soon as like the 2-minute warning came on, and if I wasn't very far along, I'm gonna start rushing, and I'm gonna break something. And that's exactly what happens with a lot of these contestants.
And the pressure.
Oh, dude.
because not only
Fuck
they're
that.
all in a small room basically.
It's like a
It looks
playground.
like a playground. But every single contestant has one of the PlayStation troops next to them.
Yeah.
And as soon as something breaks, they're right there. Boom. They
It's
shoot
like,
them
can
in
you
the
just-
head.
It's like, can you just
Because-
wait till the timer's up? Like, can I just have
Yeah.
these 2 minutes?
And so while you're over
Well-
here trying to dig this star out, there's a person right next to you. You just watch their brains get blown out.
Oh, it happens. I think blood sprays
Yeah.
on a few people.
Yeah. The
Yeah, once
pressure
like
starts
once
mounting.
that first person fucking like dies in there, then it's a fucking it's like a machine gun going off. Then there's like 10 more right after. It's just
So-
they start falling like dominoes after that.
So I have this question, because you just said something, Jason, and this is one of my questions here. And it makes sense to put it here. Shouldn't the old woman and the tattoo face guy, we're really good with names, by the way.
Yeah.
Look, to be fair here, all these names are in fucking Korean, okay? And
Yeah.
We're
So
lazy.
shouldn't they have been disqualified and shot?
No.
Or they?
The There's
Well,
no.
so yes, because she's not supposed to have brought that in. If she was allowed to bring that in, she wouldn't have had to smuggle that and some cigarettes in her vagina.
Yes.
Coochie.
I agree with Josh. And to Jason's point, you have these people that are standing near you. Yes, I know she went under a slide to hide, right? To burn to light her needle, to make it like melt the honeycomb or whatever. But like,
So Dave, what you're telling me, life on the line, she drops the lighter next to you.
no, I'm not saying this has nothing to do with whether I would try to cheat or not. I'm saying, shouldn't they have been caught and killed?
I mean,
Yes.
I'm thinking, had they been caught, maybe they would have been killed, but they weren't. So it's hard to, in my opinion, it's hard to fault anybody that's willing to break the rule to win their round when their life is on the line.
Oh, look, I'm not faulting them. I'm just, again, this is just, I believe that that's one small issue with that whole scene is it's kind of silly that they didn't get caught. That's my only gripe. But otherwise, it's super intense scene. And I think 456, having the foresight or having the thought to hold it up and realize that it's actually easier to come at it from the other angle. But if you wet it
From behind, Dave. Just say it. You like to come from behind?
No, see, I did think of that, and that's why I chose my words a little more carefully. But he starts licking the shit out of it, and getting
From behind.
getting it
That dude
moist.
he is licking for his goddamn life, too, man. He's licking the shit out of that thing.
And other people around him start doing it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? You must be doing something.
What was that? I think the old man said he saved his life on that one because I think the old man picked up on that.
Yeah, and
Yeah, that's where my journey ends, man. I lose there, especially if I fucking draw that umbrella. Just at least eat the honeycomb before you get shot in the face. That way, you at least enjoy a little bit of sweetness before you go.
Yeah.
would you be like one of those guys and just try to jump the person for his gun?
Oh, he actually got one of the guards killed.
Yeah.
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 I am curious. Like, I think me and Dave talked about this. Like, and not to go too far back, but like in the red light, green light, when the timer ends, are you just gonna stand there if you haven't crossed the line, Josh, or are you gonna run for it? You know you're dead.
I mean,
You might be in
if
shock.
I don't, yeah, I'd probably just stand there and take it. I mean, why fight it? It's not like I'm getting out of there.
You just got to zigzag.
Oh,
Yo, is that
with
it?
all those
Is that
guns?
it?
I mean, just
Don't get shot with that arrow. Yeah.
yeah, zigzag. You just got to zigzag.
Bro, this ain't apocalypse.
I will say
what's that
I
movie
like.
called?
I do like the one guy, and that's another thing that's kind of sprinkled through this show is when you think about it, somebody was bound to do that in the fact of fighting the nearest guy with the gun once you realized like you had broken, your piece of the cookie.
Yeah, some people have to go into that fight or flight mode, right, and try to protect themselves. But I mean, I'm. It's hard to put yourself in that position, obviously,
Because
we're sitting at home eating fucking cookies and watching TV.
I mean, yeah, because I think part of me would be smart enough to realize, okay, like there's no way I'm getting out of this compound, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you'd asked me, like, would I try to like start a rebellion and an uprising? I guess that's a different question. But here's the thing: everyone who's there,
they need that money. They're there by choice at this point.
They've especially since they left and voluntarily came back. So I mean, I thought that was an important scene actually to happen, to have them leave and then voluntarily come back because they're.
I got that coming up in best scenes.
Okay, go ahead. Let's keep this train rolling then.
So just to give you a tally here, so to Dave's point here, we are going to talk about a scene later on where people leave and do come back voluntarily. So between the people who don't come back, between the people who die in the honeycomb game, and then between the people who are killed in the overnight insurrection, We lose 121 of our contestants here in this series of events, and we go down to 80. So before we start the third game, we're down to 80 contestants, and they are instructed to find groups of 10. They don't know what the game is going to be just yet, but they got to put together 10 people. So this is unfortunate because this is where Snakeface guy gets a little unfair advantage because the doctor who is for the PlayStation employees, he gets a little insight on what the next game is, and they put together a team of all 10 guys.
And they're all big guys.
So sidebar is leading up to this. A lot of people in this game have kind of formed, little mini gangs. And the main evil bad guy gang. I mean, everybody in here is kind of bad, but you know what I mean.
The Snakeface gang.
Yeah, Snakeface gang. And the old woman, who's I don't even know if she's really that old, but she is all over Snakeface guy because she sees him as a ticket a way out of there, and she totally lets him have it too.
This dude on a toilet.
Yeah,
yep.
And
she will literally do anything.
Yeah,
yes.
And she's the same guy that she saved with the lighter, and to try to get her way in. And as soon as this dude figures out, okay, I don't need her anymore because this game, is more advantage to have all dudes. I'm gonna dump her in front of everybody, and
harsh.
And so call her out. And so then she
goes and joins the good guys.
Yeah, she inserts herself into that team because they're one short anyway. And
the good guys are a team of 3 women and some weak guys here.
And the old man.
Man. Which is not good for a game of tug of war. Which is what the third game is.
When you guys found out that it was tug of war, before they actually had the first match, what was your thought process on how brutal did you think it was going to be? Were you would you have had anxiety if you were one of the contestants?
Well, sure. at first I'm like, okay, so they say, okay, tug of war, and I'm just like, I'm
trying to visualize. Yeah,
how do you kill? How are you dying?
What does that look like?
Like you have a pit that has
spikes or something.
Spikes, at the bottom.
Dude, I was thinking Mortal Kombat, the fucking bridge scene or whatever, the bridge.
And then you find out, nope. You're just 200 feet off the ground.
Yeah, you're just high enough to probably die, but maybe you don't.
Yeah, and then
this is like prime Mustafa height, where you fall off of there and you break your leg. You're like, I've broken my leg. If somebody could just help me up.
I designed this a latch.
Hard enough to die.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say this. The one thing that I like about this show that's very small is because of the way that I watch stuff, I start nitpicking stupid things really quick. And this show cuts me off at the turn. It seems like more often than not, because I'm like, all right, so if it's tug of war, how are you gonna die? Oh, or 200 feet up. Okay, well.
They got this really elaborate course for you to play on that's going to kill you.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, so if I was doing it, I would let go of the rope. I'm not going to just let them pull me over the side. Okay, so we're going to chain you to the rope.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, then how are you supposed to, when you fall off this thing, how are you going to end up falling all the way to the ground? Oh, we're going to cut the rope. I'm like, damn. I thought of everything.
And it's like, oh, well, man, you might not die. I don't think you would die. And it's like, oh, well, some people don't. They just fucking put them in a coffin anyway.
And then harvest their organs.
Yeah.
Yes. While they're alive.
I would say, not to step all over my favorite scenes here, but my favorite scene for the show so far comes here, where basically the old man is dropping all of his knowledge on how to play fucking tug of war. This is... I don't think it's even debatable that this is the best scene of the whole show. Just the elevator ride up to the top where he's kind of starting to drop the knowledge, and then you see, as he's given the knowledge, you see the team setting up around the rope. So they get one on either side of the rope. Yep. They get a good leader in the front who's going to be positive. And the fucking scene where everybody starts pulling, and the thing they do is back and look to the sky, and just the visual of that as it's happening. I got fucking goosebumps.
Yeah,
On that as I'm watching it. It's so good.
So just to clarify, like leading up, like this is the second match, so we'd already seen a team lose, and it's
we'd already seen Snakeface team obliterate the other team,
and it's brutal, and it's got to be terrifying if you're on the losing end of that, because as soon as you start losing, like as soon as you start losing like a couple of inches, it's probably not the end of the world, but as soon as you realize like you're just going, oh dude, like you mentally break down and you're done, like it's over.
Yeah. You start panicking.
Yeah, you start panicking, and that's what the old man was so valuable in, like keeping them like, hey, this is our plan, we need to all pull together with a rhythm. And dude, God, it was so good, dude. I actually watched the scene. I watched the scene twice, Josh. Nice.
Well, then you get contestant 218 coming up with a fucking plan, because as they're pulling, like you're looking like, man, good stuff, and they're gonna win easily, and then it immediately starts going the other direction. You're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And then like I haven't felt this way since I watched Zero Dark 30, where like, whenever Zero Dark 30, when SEAL Team 6 lands and they're raiding the Bin Laden compound, like I know what happens, right? Obviously, but I'm watching this in a movie theater. I'm leaning forward and my hands are gripping the chair the whole time I'm watching this happen, because I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Same thing happened on this tug of war. Like when they start losing ground, I lean forward. I'm like, oh no, what the fuck?
Because literally all of the good guy main characters are part of this team. So like,
and you're like, it could happen.
Well, like, you think it could happen, but part of you is like, well, they can't all die simultaneously, right? So like, they have to get out of this. How are they going to do it?
Yeah.
And so Josh, how do they do it?
Yeah, 218 gives them a little idea and says, hey, give them, like, let's let go for 3 steps. They'll trip and fall, and then we'll catch them off guard.
Well, not only let go, but he said like walk forward 3 steps.
Walk forward 3 steps, yeah.
Yeah.
And so there's a little bit of discourse between some of the other characters here, but they decide to go ahead and do it. And so they take 3 steps forward and then cut to fucking black, dude. It's the end of the episode. And if I had to wait a week to go from that episode to the next one, motherfucker, I would have been so mad.
Dude, see, here's the thing. That to me, that moment is almost a reason alone of why I like week-to-week content. Because I'd have hated it in the moment, but
you'd have been talking about it
all fucking week.
Yeah.
Like the world would have been talking about it for a week.
Yeah. And I mean, just to jump ahead here, the plan works. They trip up the other team, and then they pull them down. And I thought this game was interesting. I think Jason said this somewhere during the week, is, what really makes this game interesting is this is the first time that you're really putting the players to have blood on their hands, unless they participated in the insurrection and killed a bunch of other players. Yep. But this is the first time from a game standpoint that a player kills another player.
Well, now, see,
something they do directly impacts that player.
Well, now everyone that is moved on has at least killed 10 people.
Yeah.
Or assisted, right? You could say they were 10% responsible. However you want to justify that or whatever in your head.
So whatever level of dirtbag you were walking into this game,
you're a murderer.
Yeah, you're now a murderer.
You can't. Yeah, this is you crossed a threshold right before this in the overnight, like the insurrection stuff.
Yeah.
But you don't really see who kills who exactly. You don't really get to see how many people somebody else killed. There are still people out there playing the game that think they're innocent.
Yeah. Now
but this game ends all that.
Well, yeah.
You either killed the other team
or you died.
Or you died.
Now I'll say this real quick on the insurrection scene. I just wanted to point this out. Like, that scene was shot so well. It was so chaotic. And
Dave, what do you mean? I was dying to get to this later on. You're giving so much shit to Platoon. You can't see anything. You can't see. Bro, you can't see shit happening in this fucking insurrection. question.
No, I will say this. Like, I felt like for like half a second I was gonna have a seizure at first because of all the strobe lights. But it did seem like I don't know. It was just super chaotic. Like very. Like I could not imagine myself in that situation. Like, dude, I'd have been in a corner, like just like hoping nobody noticed me.
Yeah, and
what I just kept saying to myself, like, just put your back to a wall.
Yes.
Like, get somewhere and put your back to a wall, and that way you can at least see everything that's coming at you. I mean, you may not still survive, but at least you're not going to get fucking,
packed in the back,
shanked from behind. Yeah.
Like the one girl who rats out.
Oh, dude, she gets it the worst, bro.
With the bottle, with the broken bottle.
Yeah, she's just in bed.
Oh man.
Hey man, she just wanted her hard boiled egg, man.
Yeah, she got it.
So between Tug of War and then the unfortunate death of the doctor, as he's fucked up the program here, we've gone from 80 contestants down to 39 actually now at the end of episode 5. So going forward, we don't know what happens to these 39 contestants, but that's where we're starting in episode 6 is 39 people after these 3 games.
So I feel like we should point out, like, all while this is all happening, right? And we were getting little bits of storyline from all these characters here and there, some of their past and things like that. One storyline that we haven't, one thing we haven't talked about at all that's kind of like really important that's happening with this is an undercover police officer who is infiltrated his way in, and he's assumed the role of one of the supervisors.
Yes.
Number 28.
Yeah, 29, I thought.
29. Yeah.
And he has infiltrated his way in, and he's looking for his brother, who went missing, and he found at his brother's very small residence.
Wow, Dave, way to be judgmental.
Dude, it was a fucking closet. And he found one of the cards that everyone else got, like with the phone number and everything on it. So he knows he's here. And then I guess the big cliffhanger at the end of episode 5 is he found like the records room, right, of all of the past games. So it was revealed that this game's been going on forever, and he saw that his brother, correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, he saw his brother won
in 2015.
In 2015. And so where's his brother, right?
Correct.
That's kind of the big, that's one of the big like mysteries of the show, right? Outside of every one of the bad guys here is wearing a mask. So that's a mystery as well. So
yeah, and now how this guy got on, the scent of the trail was that in episode 2, the players are allowed to vote, and they had a majority in which to end the game. So everybody was kicked out of the game.
Hold on one second. This is gonna parlay into favorite scenes, because this is the first scene I had outside of the tug of war scene, which is the vote. So you get a pretty big swerve here where the old man comes up to be the deciding vote, where you think he's going to vote to stay because he's going to die anyway, but he actually swings the vote to be 101 to 100 to send everybody home. Okay, go ahead, Fossil. I'm sorry.
No, so everybody gets thrown out of the game, and then over the course of that entire episode, we kind of jump back and forth between some of these characters who realize just how shitty their lives are. They got nothing to live for, and that $80 million sounds pretty good.
Yeah,
so
and I think all but 20 of them, only about 20 of them don't come back voluntarily.
I think they have 186 people come back, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a pretty healthy return.
Yeah. So you have the cop who's kind of stumbles in on our main character, trying to tell the police what the hell happened to him, laughing him out of the police station, and his brother has the same card that our main character had in his possession.
Yep.
And that's how he gets on the trail.
Yep. So we're going to bring him up. I have some of that coming up in issues later on with the undercover cop here. But so favorite scene. So like we talked about tug of war. We talked about the scene. I thought that was a real swerve where I was like, I even have it in my typed out. Old man is walking up. Oh man, old man saves the day, keeps the game going. Yeah. ... And then I was like, oh shit. Like I actually typed this out. I was like, oh shit. Like what a swerve.
Yeah.
because I didn't see that coming. So I thought that was a good scene.
That's what kind of clues you in that this is not just going to be episode after episode of just people dying.
No. And this changes the game, because now, I mean, everybody was there because they wanted the money, but now, like, they weren't quite sure what the stakes were yet. Now everybody is very clear, like, what's at stake and what are you here for? And so I think that really changes the seriousness of the rest of the contestants, for sure.
I mean, they all, and this happens right after the red light, green light game, where they make this vote. So they literally watched a couple hundred people, over 100, 200 people die, and they still voluntarily came back. So yeah. It's pretty.
The only other scene I had was just the first time you see the guys in pink suits walk out and kind of address the group. Like I thought that was a fucking, like, kind of eerie a little bit, the way the scene sets up and the way he's talking to everybody. I thought that was a good scene. Yeah,
I would say that there's little scenes that I like. The scene where our main character is with his daughter eating the hot dog soup,
whatever the junk food is. Yeah.
And then the scene where he's playing that game with the guy in the subway for money, getting slapped in the face every time he moves around.
Yeah.
The little flip game, yeah.
There's lots of little cool, well shot, I assume well acted scenes, just kind of sprinkled throughout this entire show.
Yeah, I thought I also thought the scene where this was, I believe, after they'd already left the game initially. When our main character 456 visits his ex-wife,
for the money?
Yeah, for the money for his mom, who is basically dying, needs an emergency surgery, but he can't afford it.
Yeah.
And his mom is like, basically like, look, I'm too tired to even fight this. Like, she's just basically gonna just die, right?
Yeah.
Then ex-wife's husband basically says, hey, you wanted money, as he's leaving or whatever. Here's your money. Oh, and by the way, never try to reach out and contact ever again. We're moving to America anyway, so it's just too hard on your daughter. And the dude just basically he punches the shit out of him because, that's his daughter, which I thought was... Although, as it's hard to watch that because the daughter ends up seeing that and is, like, clearly affected by that scene. But I thought it was a good character development for 456 because, up to this point, you kind of, like, you're supposed to root for him, but you kind of see him as, like, this very selfish, very money-focused person.
He's a degenerate.
Yeah, but he clearly loves his daughter. Even though he's made a lot of bad decisions, he loves his daughter and he wants to be around. So that's about as good of this bad situation that you're gonna get. And I also like the scene where our kind of female protagonist, the young woman who really is, out of everyone in this game, is actually, she's not in this because of debt. She's in this because she needs money to get her parents, to find her parents back.
Yeah.
And she has the scene where this dude, she has to pull a knife on him because this guy's, basically giving her the runaround. And she's about ready to kill this motherfucker.
Yeah.
So those are my two scenes I wanted to point out. Obviously the game scenes probably take the cake here, but there's a lot of good scenes in this movie. I don't think this movie
good other scenes.
Yeah, the show doesn't really have a lot of wasted scenes.
No, it doesn't.
Even the downtime. Even the downtime is not downtime. It's character building or the story.
Jason, do you have any other favorite scenes you wanted to bring up?
No, I'm good. I think we covered most of them.
All right, favorite character.
I'll go with mine.
Is everybody able to land on one?
I'll go with mine because I'm just gonna go with the low hanging fruit as I normally do with these things. It's 456, and I would say the moment that it's solidified for me. There's been a couple, but the moment that solidified for me is the conversation he had with Snake Tattoo Guy. This was right after the first insurrection, like the second night that they stay there. And they're building a fort, right, to protect them from potentially another insurrection.
He starts playing the mental game.
Yeah, Snake Guy's like, we're gonna get right through this.
We're gonna get right through this and kill you all. And he's like, hey, you see those guys you're with? Do you really trust them? Because if I were them, when the lights go out, I'm going to go after the strongest player. And that's you. You're the strongest player. I would take you out of this game immediately. Are you sure you can trust them? Do you really know them? And, dude, he fucking gets him, dude. He gets him.
He gets in his head.
And, dude, he goes back there and he basically tells his cronies, because they're over there, being stupid, all right, boss, what are we going to do?
What are we doing?
And he's like,
is Groucho over there?
Yeah. And he's like, no, man, we're gonna rest up tonight. We need our rest. We need our strength. And hey, they got a good night's sleep because of that. So, is he necessarily the best character? I don't know, but he's easy to root for right now for me.
Yeah, it's hard not to be all in on 456. So I'm going to go with my boy Blue, number 1. The poor guy has a brain tumor.
The poor guy's not going to make it to the end of this show.
He just said, fuck it. Let's do this. So, the guy's almost as old as I am. I had to go for it.
I like the cut of the old man's jib. He was my favorite character. I actually went with Ali.
Okay.
I don't know his. I don't know. It's funny. He's the only one I know his name. I don't know his actual name. But I like the cut of this guy's jib, man. He saves 456 on the red light, green light.
He's genuinely would appear to be a nice guy.
He seems like a pretty good guy. Yeah. He tries to get back at his boss. Well, he tries to go get the wages his boss owes him. His boss are trying to put him off, and he crushes his boss's hand inadvertently.
But man, it was brutal.
Thank God they shut that machine off, because I thought it was going to the elbow.
Oh man, dude, it fucking popped that shit like a fucking balloon. That was so good. But he goes back, takes that money, gives it to his wife and kids, and says, "Hey, get the fuck out of here! Go do what you got to, go back home."
Sandwiches.
Yeah. Get the fuck out of here! And I'll come back with some more money later on. So I think Ali for me stands above everybody else.
That's a good pick.
What about least favorite characters?
For me,
it's the old woman. The old woman. Yeah. Because the reason is, look, the snake tattoo face guy is also easy to hate, right? But at least he is who he is. You know exactly who he is. He knows who he is. He's not pretending. With her,
number 101.
She will do whatever it takes to survive, which means you really can never trust her. She's just so shady, and I don't know. It's not.
Yeah, and she talks like she's big shit.
And she
really doesn't do anything.
Not at all.
And she would definitely put a knife in your back as soon as you turned around.
Yeah. So this is a conversation. This is a conversation that was had between us, but I think Dave has only watched the show subtitled.
Correct.
Yes.
Which I would say is the preferred method. I would recommend.
What'd you say, Jason?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to bring this question up here in a second, but we can bring it up now.
I think it pertains now for me because I've only watched the show dubbed. I haven't watched it on subtitle. I didn't know you could make a switch, but I don't. It's for me. It's already kind of gotten to normal anyway. But she is the worst voice acted person on the show for me.
Absolutely.
And I think that plays a lot into else in the show about it. But man, hers is fucking terrible.
Yeah,
it's the bringing up baby of voice acting.
Yeah, I'll say this. I've watched it, and we did talk about this a little bit. Dave is watching it with subtitles in its correct Korean dialect.
Yes.
I am watching it dubbed because usually that's how I watch if there's a dubbed version of it, I'll dubbed and deal with bad English voice acting. But I am going to attempt to watch the last 4 episodes with the English subtitles, only because I feel like I am missing out on what appears to be really good acting. And even though I don't understand a fucking word they're going to say, you can feel like you can hear the tone.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think I want that for these last 4 episodes.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I don't mind doing stuff subtitled. I didn't, like I said, personally, I didn't realize there was a choice.
I would recommend subtitles heavily because the acting in this show is very, very good. Especially the emotional. So like the tug of war scene, Josh, I would recommend, like, if you're unsure of whether you should watch dubbed or subbed, rewatch the tug of war scene with subtitles in its original language, because the screaming and the emotions when they're like getting pulled, especially when they're arguing of like go 3 steps forward. And the chick, the old woman, is like screaming, like, no, like, we're not doing that. We're going to die. We're all going to die. Now, obviously, she's saying that in Korean, but it's just the emotions. The voice actors just aren't there in this, are not very good, to be honest. They're not good enough. They're not nearly as good as the people that are like actually the actors in the movie. So, I would recommend giving it a shot.
Jason, did you have the same least favorite character?
Yeah, I mean they're pretty much, it's 1A and 1B. Contestant 101 and 212. I think I hate the woman more because to what Dave said is accurate. You know who the gangster is. He's that way before he goes into the game. He's that way during the game, and he's that way when he gets his 1 day of freedom, and he's that way when he gets back in. Whereas the grandma who pretends like she's 19, she would suck the shit out of your asshole if it meant that she could get 1 extra egg.
Dude,
oh my God.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't really know that was a thing, but I guess.
Do you think she would?
I mean, I've heard of sucking a fart out of somebody's ass, but I've never heard of sucking the shit out of somebody's ass.
Well, I'm just saying, do you think she would? This character up to this point?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I think there's a guy named Kevin out there that might be interested in something like that. My least favorite character, I went with number 218, which is the tactician, the smart friend.
Swerve.
You're
not sure whether to trust him or not?
I don't trust him. I mean, obviously,
good.
like, he's already proven that, he can't be trusted.
That's a question. That was one of the questions that I had. We can dive right into this character.
Let's do it. I just don't think he can be trusted. I think he knew what the game was. Like, he figured it out, and he still hung 456 out the fucking dry because he knew that shit was a goddamn honeycombed umbrella, and he had no chance of fucking getting that out of there.
Yep.
Now, question. Do we think, that he was going to commit suicide?
Yes.
When he had his 1 day out, this dude is fully dressed in the bathtub.
Laying in the bathtub, yeah.
Now,
I think so, but I think he talked himself into, while he's laying there, like, I can win this game. Like, I'm going to go back and at least if I'm going to die, I might as well.
Now, what do we think? Because every time our main guy, 456, tries to talk him up. Oh, this is my friend. He's so smart. He went into MIT, whatever this place was.
SCU.
SMU.
SMU. Okay.
He always shuts it down.
I don't think this dude actually went.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more to the story that we're gonna get. Like, he's gonna be like, listen, I never fucking graduated, or I took the money that I was supposed to use to finish school, and I went and did all this dumb bullshit. I feel like there's more. Like, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop.
I feel like he went to the school, but I feel like he's always being talked up. I mean, his mom obviously, his mom's out there cutting squids, and she's talking about how good he is. So I feel like he's just tired of it.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think he went, but I just think he's tired of it.
Yeah, I'm with Jason on this, and I really don't think that I don't think he either finished school or, I mean, clearly there's a lot of baggage with him that he is not discussing, right?
I do hope, and like I said, another good thing about this show up to this point is I do feel like we're going to get whatever that is.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's just going to shut 456 up here at some point, like freak out and just be like, hey, look, stop saying these things because this, right?
Yeah.
Like
it was me, Austin. It was me all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think, just early prediction. I think we're going to see it's going to be a showdown somewhere along the line between 456 and 218. Look, who comes out on top of that? Right now, literally, I can be swayed either way on that deal. But I think it's going to be a showdown between the two of them.
Yep. So do we want to go into issues?
Yeah, issues. I only have one issue that I wrote down.
All right, go for it.
How does this undercover cop go undiscovered for as long as he has?
So that's the same issue that I had.
That is one of my issues.
So,
and it's
he's got no idea what's going on.
Yeah,
like none.
It's mostly the final scene there where he's in the room with the other PlayStation controllers, where they're cutting that guy's body open.
God,
and
we're
he's
so
like,
talking
smart,
about the
guys.
zombie.
Yeah, and he's like, "What did you guys do with her?" Well, dude, we all had sex with this dead corpse. I mean, you were there. You did it with us. Like at that point, I don't care how much the doctor freaks out. Like I'm just not going to let that go. I'm going to be like, I think I'm pretty sure I'm going to shoot that guy.
Yeah, I think I would just shoot that guy right then and there.
Yeah.
Because
Also,
right.
Obviously leading up to it, because the guy next door to him, number 28, is obviously like he's concerned because he's trying to talk to him and cough overnight and do the whole Morse code thing.
Yeah.
And it takes him a few nights to figure it out. So clearly there's been a couple of days of like no communication. So you just see him the first time he takes on the persona and starts wearing the suit and he talks without being, given the permission to do so. Like obviously somebody's got to be like, hey man, something's wrong here.
Like,
Yeah,
people don't
exactly.
make mistakes like this.
Okay, so now this brings me to my main issue.
All right.
And it's right in line with this. There is no fucking way, none whatsoever, that if this was actually taking place, that they would allow the majority to vote and just walk right out of there. Not walk out of there, but they all got drugged up and dropped off, so they didn't know where they had come from. But this game has been going on for 30 years. I have a hard time, as much as I just want, I'm just glossing over it. Like the analytical side of my mind is just like, there's just no way you could go this long without a fuck up.
Because there'd be some evidence.
If we're watching just a random year, and this is year 30, well, you've already seen like the pitfalls of this. Like they immediately have an undercover cop follow. The one girl brings in contraband in her coochie with cigarettes and a lighter. The one chick brought a knife.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on.
So you're telling me in 30
there's
years
just
no
way.
one else has attempted any of this shit before?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to forgive the show, but it's still there, and it's one of those things where you just like.
So
suspend your disbelief.
The only rebuttal I could have with that is we can maybe make the assumption, and maybe we find this out, is that the location of the game changes every year. The amount of research they do on these people takes a year. That's why the game is running yearly and not like monthly, right? So they are researching these people over the course of this time. So they are selecting their individuals very, very carefully. They're picking people that normally like don't have relationships with the police, don't have any trust of police or anything like that. Like you could kind of make those leaps and say like, okay, these are very like they're gonna get the lowest of the lowest risk as far as people they're inviting to the game.
Now,
but again, Jason, I think, like you said, I think the show answers your questions a lot of times. Like we saw 456 go into the police station, and we saw all the cops look at him like,
you're an idiot.
Like
Like,
bro,
really, bro? And then they tried to make the phone call, and they're like, yeah, who the fuck is this?
Yeah.
So
Now,
I
the
think
one
plenty of
thing-
people have probably tried in the past, but I
Yes,
think they do a
now,
good job of hiding it.
And I do feel like when we talk about, say, the one girl brought in the lighter, the other girl has a knife, I want to believe that, no, this is not the first time this has happened, and the person running the show is okay with this. In a matter
I
of
think
like,
they inadvertently encourage it.
yes, and I do think that's why, like I said earlier, like I don't think they would have been disqualified for cheating with the lighter. Like they took advantage of their timeout. They still didn't know what the games were. They didn't bring a lighter to try and make the game. They used what they had brought in. They snuck in. So I feel like that's a calculated risk that they're willing to take, and that's kind of like I don't want to say get out of jail free card, but if they let you out and you are able to sneak something past them in, then more power to you.
Yeah, because they know. I mean, they've done the game long enough, so they know it. When they go to the hard-boiled egg dinner, they know what's about to happen.
Yeah.
Correct.
Like, I mean, you can hear them talking about it, like behind the scenes. You know, like when they're in the control room talking about, you know, especially after they let him kill the one guy who's pissed off about the egg. Then it's very clear what's happening, and that everybody's on board with this happening. So,
Yeah.
do we have any other issues, or we want to jump right into questions and predictions?
I think we should jump into questions. I have a few.
All right.
Some of these are just.
I got one that I've already kind of breached with you guys, but I think it's great content. This has to do with the vote.
Okay.
So we need to put ourselves in this situation.
All right.
We're all in this game together.
Okay.
We all, for whatever reasons, we're all there. We're like, oh, hey, man, this is going to be great. All three of us together. We all go do red light, green light. We all survive. Now, a couple of us are like, dude, fuck this. I'm the fuck out of here. We're going to do this vote. We're going to get the fuck out of here. I'm going home.
Yep.
And
I'm
we
just going
get
to
up
file
there-
for bankruptcy and just call it a day.
Yep. And we get to do our vote.
Dave, save that thought.
And we walk up to there, and two of us have voted one way, and the other person, whether it's Dave, Josh, or me, we hit the green light. How does that affect our friendship going forward?
So I'll just speak first. All right. Because I've already, like, lost a year of friendship to one of you guys in the past before. For much, like, less shit than what this would be. So I'll tell you right now, if I vote to leave,
maybe not.
if I vote to leave and you two guys vote to stay and we end up staying in that game, even if we all survive, like I'll still probably be buddy with you while we're in the game because I'm trying to not die.
Yeah, you got to survive.
But if we all three survive and like move on, our friendship is fucking over probably. like, dude, I'm trying to live.
Yeah.
Like,
so Dave, to your
Josh,
point, right?
What's your take on this?
Well, so Dave, I want to go back to something Dave said a second ago. I keep cutting out here. He mentioned something about bankruptcy. I don't think these guys in here can be fixed. I don't think their issues can be fixed by bankruptcy, right? Like,
Correct.
like 456's issue is with gambling
Like
and
bookies and
sharks
stuff.
take his, yeah, they're gonna take his kidneys and all kinds of shit, right? So
Even
that was the first thought I had was like, fuck, man, I just file fucking bankruptcy and get out of town. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even
I don't-
even the snake guy, his deal is that apparently he was skimming from his boss.
yeah.
yeah,
These are
so
not.
none
These
of
are not
these none of these are
everyday.
bankruptcy related.
Yeah, these are not everyday. These are not shit like issues that I think the three of us would like. If any one of us were in like financial like turmoil,
Yeah.
ultimately we could probably file for bankruptcy and kind of move on. But I don't think that's the case for any of these.
So Josh,
I'd like to think that all three of us would communicate beforehand, and we would all come up with a consensus answer, and we would just give that answer, Jason. So I'm overruling your question.
okay, so Dave goes up there and hits the green button, and you're like, all right.
Well, yeah. If we all agreed that we were going to hit the red button, well, then I'm like, yeah, what the fuck? Like, you better fucking hope there's no goddamn overnight insert. or I'm going to cut your fucking ass open with a broken bottle.
God,
I thought about this today. I was like, it's a really tough situation because, like, you guys are my best friends. I would be like, dude, we need to get the fuck out of here. We just saw 200 people get killed. And then, Dave or Josh go up there and they hit the green button. And I was like, I don't know if I could completely forgive that person ever. But if we all survived, I would have those people to thank that
for getting all that money.
That I had, $10-20 million. But it's one of those, it's like a two-edged sword. It's like, I wouldn't have this lifestyle if it wasn't for that decision. But the other part of me was thinking, would I be able to forgive that person if their choice ended up getting one of you two killed? Yes, me and one of you survived, but one of us is dead. I don't know. I think that affects the friendship going forward. It's like, Yeah.
Well, we'd have the money to hire an editor to be two guys in a mic. So there's that.
there's that. All right, that was my first question.
I mean, look, ultimately, I think we would all have a pretty good idea of what our financial issues were. I think we would all agree to keep playing the game.
Yeah, given those situations,
because here's the thing: if we were invited to that game, we probably needed to be there at that point.
Exactly. And we're probably all in a position where we're probably going to die or live with a much worse quality of life post to however we're going to have to pay back that debt. So I think ultimately, we're all staying.
Okay, so not to jump in front of anybody, but one of my other questions, you just segue right into it. We're all there. We all hit the whatever light we hit. The old man hits the red. We're all sent back home. Are you going back into the game?
I would probably not. I don't think I would.
Okay, but Dave, put yourself in 456's shoes where it's insurmountable. You're not going to get the money to pay these guys. You're going to take your kidneys and they're going to fucking eyeball.
Yeah, and
at minimum.
And your kid is about to leave the country, about as far away as possible.
And also, it's not like you're taking this eyeball in a sanitary hospital. I'm sure they're going to take this bitch out of your fucking head in like an alley.
Look, when you put it that way, I guess I'd rather play red light, green light. You know what I mean? But at least you're operating under a chance of winning and paying off that debt, or you're going to die, which probably a better fate anyway. Look, here's the thing: if I was doing it with you guys, I think knowing that we would be trying to do it together, I would probably go back and play. So
I think I would because if I had gotten myself in that much trouble and lost my wife and was about to lose my kid, and your mother is diabetic and she's about to, her leg's going gangrene on her, like it's all or nothing at this point.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Jason, do you have another question, or can I ask a question?
No, you go ahead. I got some more questions, but I'll get to them.
All right. No,
Josh just segued right into it. So
no. All right. Look, hey. So let's assume this show wraps up, nice, neat in a bow, and it's done. Okay. So that has to be assumed when I ask this question. First, it's a two-parter. First, do you want to see a season 2 of this show? In the general sense.
I think what's interesting about this is you could have kind of like American Horror Story, where you could have a different story every year.
Yeah. So
you could bring back a different cast next year, and maybe change up the games or something like that.
So
I think you could do it.
The second part of my question, I guess you kind of need both parts in order to answer this. So if you did, to your point, Josh, if you had a second season, so this show was done in South Korea, what if the next, as just an example, right? But we're in America, so I'm just going to say, what if the season 2 was in America, and you can do old school American kids games, you could do tag, where if you don't tag somebody, then you fucking blow up because they like attach a bomb to your chest. You could do hopscotch, dodgeball, but the balls have bombs in them. I don't know. There's probably way more creative ways to do that.
Red Rover.
Duck, duck, goose. Except if you don't catch the person, you're gonna die. You could do
chairs.
You could do limbo, but with a laser beam.
Oh shit!
I mean,
okay. So now, would you, assuming season 1 ends tightly, would you want a season 2?
Yeah,
I would say yes, and I would like each season. I think I would like each season to be self-contained. I feel like that's more interesting.
I am
obviously for me, it's wishful thinking that season 2 would be at least up to par. So I would say yes.
I'm going to go contrary, and I'm going to say no. I think this is a show that lives on indefinitely if it's one season. And I think it'd be hard to recapture what you've got going on when you kind of know the rules going in.
I think that's totally fair.
It's just I don't know. Like, I'll be happy if this is just one season. But
Yeah,
I'll be
no,
very
no.
curious.
Yeah.
I'll be very curious on the second season if there is one.
Or maybe you could do like a prequel season where you go back to like the first season this happened and you go through the trials and tribulations of what they went through to set the game up or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm fine. I mean, like, ultimately, I'm fine either way. I just thought it would be an interesting hypothetical. So this is not a prediction yet, so I'll ask it here. Who would you be the most emotional to see die of the current contestants?
Ali.
There's 2 of them for me. Number 1 and number 67, which is the girl that's there trying to get the money to save her family.
Yep.
I'm torn between those 2. I know. Look, number 1 is on death's door. Like, we leave him not comatose, but in his bed, like pissed himself. So there's not much left of this guy, but I still don't want to see him die.
I agree. So for me, it would be the girl, the female protagonist, and 456, obviously.
Yeah.
But
since you brought it up, this is semi-prediction. Besides the main character, who do we think survives? You can only pick one.
I think it's the girl with the family.
67.
Yeah.
Ali has been my horse all the way through this episode here. I think Ali's the guy who wins.
I'm gonna go with the girl as well. I know I don't want to pick somebody else just for the sake of picking a different person, but I think 67. I think she has the fortitude to make it.
So side prediction, I think she might be the only survivor.
I think we only get. I don't think we're gonna end with anything but just one person surviving. I don't think there's multiple survivors, in my opinion. Maybe that's a prediction, but
I will say this: I do feel like the game is going to force another culling when we get closer to the end, because I feel like at some point, like, whoever's in charge is going to present them with the fact that, look how far you've come. There's 48 billion you want up here. Do you really want to share it with these 10 other people?
Yeah.
So
I feel like it's going to get down to one.
I agree.
Last question for me. Do you have another one before we get to the last question? I think you and me both have the same question.
Yeah. Of who's the guy in black?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think for that, I think that plays into the undercover cop and his quest to find his little brother. I mean, it's obvious right now that the thought is that that's going to be his little brother.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My question about that guy and his little brother is that the same guy that played the flip game with 456 out in the street.
Yeah. In the end of episode 5, when he sees it's his
We haven't
brother,
seen.
they blurred the
Yeah,
face.
but we don't. But yeah, so you don't get to see the pictures. So there's a question on actually who that is. I think was slapping 456 around.
Now, here's one issue that I have with this question. Why is, if the brother won in 2015, why did he just come up missing?
Well, I don't know. I guess maybe I don't know if that was an oversight on us. We didn't see it. I mean, I don't know how long he's been missing. Did he make the assumption that it was recent?
Yes,
Yeah.
because the cop is in the car driving to his brother's apartment because I guess the parent, whoever he's on the phone with, hasn't heard from him in a while. I would assume a while is not the 5 or 6 years since he won the competition.
Yeah, that's true.
So I am curious. Like, I do think the show is wanting us to think that maybe that's his brother is the man in black, but I don't understand like why he went missing. And if he won in 2000, why is he living in a Cracker Jack box?
I mean,
Maybe he
you
got
got to.
himself in trouble again. I don't really know.
I don't know. I mean, I think you got to live under the radar a little bit. I mean, if you certainly went into that in financial ruin, you probably weren't already portraying the lifestyle of being rich. So you probably can't come out of there and be like, "Yo, dog, I got $80 million."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, true.
What if he won and gave away all his winnings to the people who died?
I don't think the game would then ask him back to be the boss at that point.
Correct.
I don't know.
I don't
know what they're looking for in the boss here.
I don't know. But I mean, as far as that was the same question I had, Jason, and I pretty much have the same. I mean, I have the same thought. I mean, it's pretty much right now. There's no other option as far as who his brother could be.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the only concern I have is that I hope they make it tight if it is, and if it's not, I hope they give us something between now and the big reveal that makes that like a big swerve.
Yeah.
I mean, I will
I
probably.
think
be
right
finding
now
out
it's
soon.
too easy to assume that it's that. So I'm hoping that there's going to be some sort of a swerve.
But the only swerve I thought is maybe it's not the guy that you're saying, Josh, and maybe the reason they didn't show the brother's face. Well, no, I don't think that. I think there's a reason why they didn't show his face, right? Like
Yeah.
that has to be it, right? Because it's got to be somebody we've seen already.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why not show us?
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah,
And it's clearly not a contestant because he's been around all the contestants already. So we know it's
Yeah.
not one of them for sure.
yep.
Correct.
So I don't know, man. Look, here's a prediction. I think the next 4 episodes are going to be good. I had to
And-
watch.
And I think I'm gonna. I think here's a prediction. I'm gonna know all my questions by the end of tomorrow.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to watch most of these at work.
So, hey, man, if you guys stuck with us through this whole thing, come back next week. Recap here of Squid Game.
We'll
Yep.
make fun of how badly we predicted all this shit.
Yeah. So
That's right.
all right, guys, take it easy, everybody.
Live long and prosper.
Later.